Hello and welcome to another beautiful evening here in sunny Nova Scotia, and welcome to my channel, The Optimistic Gardener. My name is Steve Farley. So we're in the slightly less scenic, glamorous area of my composting area. And as gardeners, I think the majority of us know now how fantastic making compost is, and making your own compost, using up all the plants and feeding it back into your new plants is a great way to keep all your plants in tip-top condition. And you guys who've watched some of my videos before know I've got quite a big garden. I've got the space. I've got a 3-bin composting area here. One to put the new stuff in, then I fill it up and put it in another, and then I put it in another. But not everybody has that sort of space, and not everybody's allowed actually to have composting areas. I think in some municipalities the bylaws will say you're not allowed to make composting bins, and other people are sort of worried about the smells, even though I don't actually really notice any sort of smell here. But there's another way to compost all your old materials and get that goodness straight into your plants: direct composting or trench composting. So in this video I'm going to show you how to trench compost and how easy it is to get all of that goodness, as I said, straight into the plants where they need it most, at the roots. So what is trench composting? Well, it's basically the process of digging out a trench about a foot, maybe 2 foot at the most deep, normally in sort of late autumn, early winter, digging it out and then starting to fill the trench up with your normal composting materials like your kitchen waste, scraps, all the bits that you've started to cut down from the garden, filling a layer along and then covering that with a layer of soil, then filling it again with another layer of kitchen scraps and etc, with earth, covering it again with earth, all the way up until you top it off with a final layer of soil when you're up at your exact layer. Now I'm using raised beds here, so I'm not going to be able to do it too deep, and this bed is due to be topped off with compost in the spring, so I'm going to so I haven't got like 2 foot, so I'm going to dig down quite deep, and then I'll put this layer of kitchen scraps. And like I said, I've got all sorts of kitchen scraps: bananas, eggs, everything, even old bits of brown paper for a bit of carbon. And then I've chopped up some the dahlias that have just been wiped out by the frost over the last couple of days. I've chopped all of those bits nice and small, and they're going to rot down quite quickly as dahlias do, and we'll see where we get. So I'm going to dig this trench out now, just a spade's width. Let's give it a go. I'll have to watch out here because this was my cut flower bed, and I'm going to be digging up quite a few tulips here, so I'll have to put them somewhere else. Right, so that's the trench dug out. Like I said, all I'm going to do now, put a layer of scraps in, all the way along, nice and even. So now I've put a layer of soil over the dahlia scraps. Now I'm going to put a layer of the kitchen scraps. So I've got also, I'm not going to put the apples in actually, they're a bit too big. So I've got also, like I said, bananas, tea bags, carrot peelings, butternut squash, all your different kitchen scraps. Some brown paper to add some carbon. Just give that a good tear up. That can all go in. in. Right, let's get another layer of soil across that. Spread that out. There we go. And I've got even another layer here. Put this last layer over. And there we go. It's as simple as that. So like I said, there's a few different reasons why you want to do trench composting. Obviously, if you haven't got space, this is a fantastic way of composting. There's no space at all, it's directly under the soil. It produces less smells. You know, any of these scraps that are rotting down sometimes in some compost heaps, they'll be a bit smelly sometimes. It's under the soil, not smelling at all. When it rots down itself, the actual compost is there, straight in the roots where you want it most. In this bed here, next spring, I'm going to be planting my beans, and they're thirsty, hungry feeders. As you can see with that frame over there, I usually straddle two beds so I can save space. So what I'm going to do is an experiment next year. I'll obviously have this bed with the compost at the roots, and on this side it won't have compost at the roots. So we'll have beans either side, and we'll see which ones produce the most beans. Can't beat that, a good experiment when you're gardening. So there we go, quick one. If you finding these videos useful, please subscribe, because you'll help me out by getting me further up the ratings, and you'll help yourselves out by getting notice of my videos. Quick recap. Brilliant, trench composting. No smells because it's underground. Less space because you're not having to use a big composting bin. You're going underground again. You can't see it. It doesn't look ugly. It's doing the same job. Job's a good one.